Hey, Earl Hall here, Chief Marketing Officer for Arturo Johnson Consulting. The next hour, what it is that you're going to watch will probably be the best hour that you've ever spent learning about this industry we call life insurance. This is from a group meeting, a mastermind that we had, and it is just one of many, all right? But here's the thing. What you're about to see is going to show you the fears, the accomplishments, and most of all, the solutions that top producers have come up with. These are intimate conversations and trainings that have gone on, and you're able to hear from people that are at a high level of production in the life insurance industry. And because of that, you're going to actually see and hear not hyperbole, not pie in the sky, but actual real stuff that you face every day that these folks have learned and continue to learn how to overcome. Our CEO, Arturo Johnson, had this meeting with a very intimate group of our clients. And this mastermind helped so many uncover the things that they just needed to know from people that are on the ground, people that are in the field, people that are working this thing every day and that are making 50K, 80K, 100K and above every single month. As a matter of fact, some of these people are on track to do $1 million this year. You're going to hear from them in their own words, real things that have helped them get to where they are, and they have a bright future of where they want to go. Turn off everything. Key in for the next hour on what you're about to learn. And at the end of that hour, I want you to leave a comment. What did you learn? If you didn't learn anything, tell me that. Just as candid as they are is just as candid as I want you to be. But this training will help start the process of taking you from where you are to actually where you want to be. Give yourself a gift of time right now to learn from people that are at the top of their game so that you can get there too.
Just looking at the notes, because I took a bunch of notes of what everybody said. Time management, game plan, recruiting, sales, and clarity. Like everybody, from what everybody said, those are kind of the 5 buckets that I put those things in. So that's what we're going to cover in this event. So if you guys get that from this event, do you guys think that would be worth your time coming for the next couple of days?
Absolutely.
Cool. So I'm gonna preface this by saying a lot of the kind of things I'm gonna talk about may be kind of the opposite of what you guys have heard or taught or learned. And so neither one is right or wrong, they both work. But just for this acute situation, for what I know from my experience, is a little bit different. So, listen to those teachings, but also listen to these things. And so coming into this with an open mind is the best thing to do, right? You take the good and leave the bad from whatever it is, and you apply it to your philosophy. But the game plan for this is leaving here with a game plan on what you're going to do over the next 45 days. And if we don't do anything else, you look at those packets, we're going to leave here with a game plan on exactly what we're going to do based off the goals that you want. And then from there, the only reason that you don't hit your goals is because of you, right? Because you're going to spend time doing this, basically like you're committing to yourself. But we're also going to put it down, so it's like, did you do the things that you needed to do today? And it's very cool because the way we're going to cover these things is we have somebody that can really talk about the experience. One of the cool things about myself is like the time management and the game plan. That's really one of the things that I excel at, which is what I'm going to talk about today. And Derek mentioned a couple of things about mindset. But it's a little bit a step behind it, which is sometimes you got to kind of fall back in love with the thing, or you got to fall in love with it, right? For example, Michael Jordan, being one of the best basketball players, arguably ever, and he had the skill set. But they always ask him, like, what is it, or what was the thing? and he said he had to just fall in love with the game, right? And love is a strong word. Think about somebody you love, right? Dad, girl dad, 2 sons, right? Spending time with your family, whatever it is. You do anything for that. And that's really where it kind of comes back to, just getting back into love of the game, falling in love with the game, falling back in love with the game. And a lot of times it really just comes from, what are you doing in the day? I feel like sometimes with small business owners, we go into the day and like production is this magical thing that just happens, like the day is just this magical thing, right? And we don't have a game plan on what we need to do every single day in order to hit these goals. And so that's really what we're going to cover in these worksheets, is how to reverse engineer, how to game plan those things. And not just me giving you the theory on it, right? Where we map it out, there's examples of how I structure it and do it, and we can go through it together. It's not really that difficult, but it's the focus, it's the intentionality. When we go into it, like, what do you want? And then how do we reverse engineer that? And then we chunk it down. And so that's kind of how this event's gonna go. So for the rest of today, we'll be talking about a time management and game plan. And then tomorrow will be recruiting and sales. Kevin will talk about sales. I know you're interested about the live transfer and things, and he'll be talking about his process and those things. Edwin will kind of talk about some recruiting and stuff, and I'll focus on leadership and things toward the end. And then as we wrap this up, we'll start talking about what's working for you guys, right? Because we just don't want to be talking heads here. We all want to know what's working. We can all learn something from everybody in this room, and that's kind of what we want to focus on. And then day 3, which is Sunday, we're just going to kind of reflect on things and just do a bunch of Q&A. And so there'll be lots of time in between to do all that, but this is just kind of the structure of how this will go, so y'all have a game plan in regards to that. And so as you guys are going around the room talking, I started thinking about my story and my journey, right? And so how this all came about. And so my brothers was staying in one of the rooms down here, and I brought my daughter up here last night. And it was kind of a sentimental thing, right? Because I come from the south side of Chicago, where I'm not even supposed to be standing in front of y'all right now. And people that get to 25 years old, they don't make it. And for me to transition and kind of come through this is kind of an amazing thing. My daughter came here last night, and she was just like, wow, Dad, we kind of come a long way. So when I first came to Nashville, that's my apartment. That's what it looked like. No furniture, air mattress, like all of these things. But like what Kevin said, is like, I just kept fighting every single day and just never gave up. And so in that process, I tried everything. Real estate, convenience stores, like all of these things, and it brought me back to the life insurance. And really it was just sales in general. I just had a passion for communicating with people, influence, leadership, and then anything that I was like all in on, I just like went in on it, and that's where the sales came. So it was about 2004. I'm working at the Hilton downtown Nashville, not too far from here, and one of my friends, she came to work in a suit. I was like, oh man, what are you doing? And I noticed how everybody looked at her because she was all dressed up. And I'm in apron and the service industry. And she's like, well, you need to come over here. I'm working with the guy, and he's helping me to make a little bit of money on the side, right? Side hustle. I'm like, okay, I got a daughter living in an apartment with no furniture in it. I'm like, yeah, it's extra money. It sounds good. So I meet up with this guy, and he's working at Aflac. So that was kind of my first introduction into getting into life insurance. So went to go and talk to this guy named Wes Hutton. And really sharp dude. He's like, dude, I can help you do X, Y, and Z. So I went to go take the test and everything. And I'm not as smart as all you guys. I had to take it like 3 times, right? And in Tennessee, if you fail it the first time, you got to wait 30 days before you can take it again. Right, and then you got to pay, and then after the 3rd time, you got to wait a whole year. And so I remember it was like 2004 of December the 23rd, 2004. I drove from here to Chattanooga and had to be there at 8 a.m. It's like 2.5 hours from here. And I wasn't prepared. I just kind of skimmed through the information. It's like, oh man, I got it. And I went down there and I failed the test. And on that drive back, I was very frustrated. I think this was the 2nd time. And so from that moment on, I knew that I just needed to be prepared. And that was the only difference between, me passing tests and not. I wasn't prepared. So that's kind of how I got introduced to the life insurance insurance business in the beginning. And so I was selling accidental health in the beginning, but I only passed the life part, right? Because I didn't pass the accident health. So the only thing I could sell at that time for the 30 days was life insurance. So that's all I could sell with them. And so that was kind of my first introduction to that. And I got up to a district sales coordinator in training. And so I did that, and I started like building. I had a little bit of team. I was leading the meetings and everything. And this is one of the times that I quit. You had me thinking about this. And so it was like March the 26th, the day before my birthday. My birthday's on March the 27th. I had went in, because I was knocking on construction, industrial businesses, right? So I'd go through Reference USA at the library. I had to go there when they had that database, and I would like put in like between 25 to 100 employees, grossing over $500,000, and then I would print all of these off at the library because you needed to have a special code in order to use Reference USA back then. And so I would print these sheets off, and then I would pick like an industrial area, and then I would just door knock all of these businesses myself. And so I remember getting into I think it was a car painting business, and the business owner just happened to be there. Rolled in, pamphlets, so did the whole thing, introduced myself, start putting up flyers, because they already had an account, so I was going after inactive accounts, right? And it was like, oh man, hey, there's a bunch of guys that have an accidental policy that if they've been to the doctor over the last 12 months, they get some cash. So that was the way I was able to get in the door. So he's like, yeah, sure. And I was super excited about that. And this is one of the times where I got broke, because I had it all planned. I had my district sales coordinator coming with me with his laptop and his computer. We about to write a bunch of cases and get there, and the lights off, doors closed, everything. And I needed to make money. Y'all see what I was saying? It's like, no, dude, I need this to happen. And I did not make the sale. And that just broke me. And so I quit the business then and went back to just waiting tables. And then probably, I think it was like 2015, so I let my license lapse. In about 2015, my mom got sick, and I had to drive back and forth between Chicago and here because she had a serious illness. She ended up having heart attack and then a stroke like 7 days later. And in between that time, she needed to have surgery for hysterectomy because she had ovarian cancer as well. And so I'm driving back and forth, working from here to Chicago, trying to manage these things. And so once I got her back down here, she was well enough to walk at some point. And so mom was very spiritual, so I took her to Mount Zion one time, which is a church, Baptist church here in Nashville, and ran into a guy that I went to college with. And he was like, hey man, when you get the chance, here's my card, here's another opportunity. So this was my second opportunity to get back into life insurance, and that was Northwestern Mutual. So they got a home office right down here. So why is this relevant? Because I ended up doing insurance again, and one of the guys who brought me on, he was just trying to make money off of me, right? And we all know how that feels, right? And so in that experience, the thing that really hurt me the most is because he told me he promised me that he was gonna bring me up in the business and mold me into doing things. But anytime I needed him, he wasn't there for me. And so that's a lot of what we're gonna be talking about here, is why I'm talking about spending time with your people. Because little do he know that if he would have spent time with me, how good I am in sales and growth and all of these things, what we could have done, right? However, there was just another plan for me, right? So in this transition, let me take a step back. So before then, I was doing it the old way still. I was still trying to do the door knocking and these things. Everybody else is sitting there on the phone. I'm like, man, I need to go out and see people. So I wasn't making any money, still struggling at that point. And then it was around Christmas time again. I just pulled out my phone and I'm like, I went to Fisk University, right across the street is the medical college. I wonder if I looked at my friends and see who is friends with people who went to medical college, because that was my niche back then, medical professionals. And I DM'd probably 100 people in 2 days and got connected with them on Facebook. So then I got really good at learning about student loans and things. And so I turned into the person that was a student loan financial advisor, right? Because we all know that they got about $300,000 in debt, and they don't know anything about subsidized and unsubsidized. So in having that specialty, everybody wanted to talk to me, right? They're about to graduate, they got to go into these things. They know they just signed this big check. to the government, but they also about to start making life-changing money for them, so they think, right? And they go from, making in probably like $48,000 a year in school to making $300, and they want to be safe with that. So now I'm the, pretty girl at the ball. Everybody wants to come talk to me, and I'm like, I wonder if I can automate some of this process. So did a little bit of research and was able to kind of automate messaging, connecting, and doing those things. So that was kind of, I was like, okay. So then I wondered how well I could do that. And in 1 month of me doing this by myself, I still have a screenshot of my numbers where I'm at the top. So the month before that, I wasn't even on this list. And then we went to a conference and I ended up being at the top where I did, I did 93 meetings in 1 month with people that averaged the income was $84,244, and I closed a bunch of those. And so obviously those cases are probably $300 to $500 a month in things that I was doing with them just from the sales process of Northwestern Mutual, where they focus on bigger cases. And once I did that in a month, that changed everything for me, because I remember being in meetings where I'm like, everybody's just like fight to see people. They say all these generic things, like nobody actually showed me what to do. And that's when I realized nobody really knew, right? It was all this mystical kind of magical thing. Nobody had an actual process besides just cold calling in person or over the phone. And so once I realized that, I trained one young dude how to do it, and he had a good month. And then I'm like, well, it's time for me to make a transition, right? Because my justification is I'm just one person trying to just help many, but if I can help more people, this is exponentially kind of how I can grow. So that's kind of my why, and that's kind of why I'm here, and that's kind of been my journey to getting to this point, to be in front of you. And I've had ups and downs in life insurance and in this, where I have thought like, man, is this the thing for me? Having, a good month and then have to fire my top closer, that's doing 102,000 revenue. That's a tough decision to make, but it was for the culture of the team, right? Having to make tough decisions like that and wondering if I made the right decision, or, losing some good soldiers sometime, right? That hurts you. Unexpected things happen and you lose people, and it's like, man, you've worked so hard to find people, you've been pouring in them, and then things happen by the wayside. And so it is a challenge, but that's just part of the business, and that's one of those things that we talk through, is that it's never ending, and so we always want to have some kind of systematic process to kind of buffer those things, right? Because when it happens, you kind of stake big, and then you kind of get into the scarcity mode. And so, in saying that, it's just like, we all kind of face these challenges, and over this time together, we want to see that this isn't just one acute situation for you. This is happening for all of us, and how we're able to overcome it in different ways and what people use together. And that's kind of what we're going to go through over the next couple of days. And that's just kind of my why. And so that's why I'm standing in front of you guys today. All right. So got a few minutes before we break. So one of the first things I just want to kind of talk about is goal setting. And I feel like a lot of times people don't spend enough time on this part right here. Like, we do a bunch of things and random acts, like, wake up, get ready to go to office, go work out, and do all these things. And we're working, but we're not really working towards something. And that's where you kind of feel like you're chicken with your head cut off and kind of running around, is because we need to figure out this one thing first. And so we kind of call this the layer start. And so this is what we really want to do, is we want to figure out what that goal is. And for parameters of this conversation, we want to just keep it as a tangible thing of like a number, right? So, it can be multiple things, but like for your business, right? We're going to keep it in this, whether it's 25,000, 30,000, whatever it is for you. That's the first thing that we need to do. So there's a second page here. And again, this is for you. So there's no need to put big numbers on there to try to impress anybody, because based off of this number, this is what we're going to reverse engineer. What's blocking you, what's holding you back from this, and we're going to put a game plan together on how you're going to do that. Because from this, right, this determines the actions that we need to do. And I think that as a leader, right, as a team, like, this needs to be the go. And it needs to be clear that we're all working together towards this thing here. Because now you can figure out where your time goes. So there's always like one question. Is it going towards this or is it going away from it? And then once you figure that part, then you just flip it, right? You reverse engineer it, right? Because the number one thing that we kind of need, and I'll rewrite this, is focus, right? And so this is a very important thing, which is focus. And so in order to know what you need to focus on, the first thing you need to do is just reverse it to, what are the things that are distracting you? Because if you remove the distractions, then you're gonna have more time to focus. If you have a goal, we remove the distractions, now we need to have a game plan. And so these things go together, because the myth is that, I just need more leads, I just need better this and that, but in order for things to change, in the words of Jim Rohn, you gotta change, right? Don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills. And that's what we're gonna do is, we're gonna figure out, get clarity on the go, we're gonna talk about the distractions and things that are moving you, and then we're gonna put a game plan to get to those things. Because once you have that, and you know every single day what you need to do, and it's only a few things, but we need to get clear on the goal first, then we can determine what those actions are. And once we come to that understanding, and it's clear to us, right, we know what we need to do every single day, we don't have time for the distractions because we blocked out this intentionality that these things need to get done, right, and in a timely fashion. So then you do have time if you want to have work-life balance, if you want to go on quarterly trips, because you deserve it, because you have mapped those things out. And in this plan, I'm going to go through all of these and show you what I do, and then we'll build one for you. And so before we leave this over this weekend, you guys will have your game plan based off of what your goals are, so you know exactly what you need to do for the next 45, 60 days as a game plan. Because when you know that, when you wake up, you already know what to do, then it's just execute, kill, shoot, just bang, bang. And that's how you hit your goals. That's how you achieve things. That's how you build consistency. That's how you break through your glass ceiling, and then you make that your floor, like Tim's saying. He wants that to be the norm. Well, that's how you do it. You repeat the same actions over and over that's going towards your goal with focus, eliminating distractions. And so that's kind of what we're gonna do. So let's just take a few seconds to just figure out like what that goal, what that means to you, what your goal is, what that is. Because without this, we can't really do a lot of this. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll write them under Q2 goals, right?
Yeah, just whatever your number goal is, you just write it down, like right at the top.
Got
Whatever
it.
your number.
Oh, next to goals and tips?
Yeah, just write down what your number is. And so in this event too, once we get some of this filled out, we're gonna do a few hot seats. So just make sure you kind of filling out your stuff, because we're gonna go through folks' businesses and kind of talk through some of those. So we will have some hot seats. So I'm a big nerd, and so in order for me to like really feel like I have things structured, I like to think of things like this in the formula, right? So usually, if you get the formula right, you usually can solve the thing, right? Right? We all know that. It's just like you get the formula right, then you're usually pretty good.
What was that? A squared, B squared equals C squared? That's the only thing I remember high school.
And so this is basically like an A plus B equals C, right? And so define the goal, right? So the first thing is we need to have the solution to the equation, right? And so we've got the goal. And then the next thing is we need to define the actions that we need in order to hit the goal. And then you need to have a timeline, right? Because you can say you want to write 10, but then if we don't assign a time to it, it's like, okay, well, when do you want to write? Do you want to do it tomorrow? Do you want to do it in a month, right? Do you want to do it in a year? And so once we assign a timeline to it, right, now we're clear. So you see how I'm breaking it, like we just deconstructed all of this down to this. So the first thing, right, we got to do is we have to figure out what the goal is. So everybody's got their goal, right? Okay. Now we need to figure out what the actions are that we need to do in order to hit that goal. Mm-hmm. So for you and your business, right? these are the things that you can probably write down on that sheet. Is what are the things that you need to do to get closer to your goal, right? Whatever your goal is, what do you need to do in order to get there? Whether it's do more appointments, meet with your team, have sales training, right? Go out with your team and build some camaraderie with them, so that it's so into them, so that they can invest more in you, because you spent time with them. They know that you care, and you're not just, they're working with you, not for you, which is an important thing. If you need more leads, right? If you need to increase your volume, whatever it is, because this is your business, so you know what you need to do, but we want to get it out of your head and get it down on paper on what the actions that you need to do. And if you don't know, that's great, because we have time to go through it, because we have everybody here and like what the actions are, and we'll kind of go through what those actions are. So let's just go through defining the actions that you need in order to hit your goal. So kind of examples for us. We want to double our sales, right? So we need to have a constant pipeline of new talent kind of coming in. And what we learned is we need to have younger people that are hungry, that the value of a little bit means more to them. And this is interesting, because when we have tried to hire seasoned people to come in, that works, but they have a lot of things, right? They have stories that they told them, they have bad habits, they don't accept the coaching, and their lifestyle, what they need in order for this to work for them, right, is a lot more, and they need it to, and the runway for it to work is a lot long, like they need it shorter. They need it to work right then, right? So what does that do? That leaves no room for growth and a lot of desperation, right? Your coaching goes a little bit longer, and people kind of look up to it. If you just think about it, just looking here, younger agent, they look up to where you are right now a little bit more. It means a lot more, right? And they're willing to come to you for that. They're hungry, they're thirsty. And so for us, in order to do that, we need to find people that are excited, driven, and hungry to learn. The next thing is lead flow. We need to double the throughput, right? Starting there, we need to get more attention. We need to get more eyes on our marketing. We need to get more people clicking on ads. We need to get more people picking up the phone. We need to increase the throughput, and we can control that with our budget, right? And then the next thing is we need to train. We need to train every single day, whether it's 30 minutes or an hour. We need to do some type of training or coaching. Iron sharpens iron. Grant Cardone says it only takes one day for you to get rusty. You know how it is. You go on vacation and come back. First couple of days kind of foggy. You just kind of pitter-patter, and then it takes a little bit. So with that, you want to create a culture of where that is the norm for you, where you're excited about it. And then the last piece is you want to have people around where you're excited to get to work. Yeah. Like when you're excited to go, because you also get energy from being around those people, right? Like your energy, it's a synergy kind of thing, right? Well, with our team, like yesterday, was that awesome? 100%. Spending time together on and off the court as well, but in the sales environment, talking about these things, lifestyle, personal, all of those things kind of together, because you want to break those fabrics in to where it's so connected, where it's a kind of an emotional kind of thing with you. And so those are the actions that I need to take. Recruiting, training, and the budget. And so those are kind of the things that, the actions that's going to get me closer to my goal. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so, I don't know if you heard a little bit, I was getting coffee, but we want to define our goal, and then we want to define what actions I need to take in order to get that. So with your sheet, you want to make sure you're clear, because we're going to do some hot seats on this. What are the actions that you need to take that are going to get you closer to your goal? And so this formula is action plus time is going to equal your goal. And so we're keeping a simple formula here. So this is why we need to get the goal first. So, Jerry, for you, what actions do you need to take to hit your goal?
For sure, I gotta have a more consistent schedule. No questions asked. I mean, I can come up with 1,000 excuses, but exactly time management. When I'm a dad, I'm a dad. When I'm at work, I'm at work. That's been an adjustment. So I have questions on that, like having a home office and all that. Like, I should get out of there, but so just stuff like that. That's definitely one. I need to increase my appointments, however that may be. So it takes two to tango in this business, right? You need you and the client. If you don't have a client, I guess you can have the best scripts in the world, but you're not going to do very well.
You need to see more people.
So I need to see more people, man. That's my thing, and that's been one of my obstacles so far. So that goes with increasing my volume. I need to kind of restructure my business. I think I've had a business model now for a year and a half, and I have a staff member that works with me, but opening, I've had dialers forever and all that stuff, but just kind of restructuring my business model. I think it's definitely time. But those are really kind of the big things, and I have to be more intentional about promoting what I'm doing for folks that may be hesitant. See, I don't want to promote what people have been promoting, like, hey, come to the insurance business, you make a lot of money and do great. Like, that's not what I want. I don't care about any of that. I want to talk about the ins and out of the insurance business, especially as a new agent. Like, what is a chargeback, right? What happens if you leave the business? Like, what are the ups and downs? Like, what does it mean when somebody tells you they write $80,000? That don't mean they made $80,000.
Yeah.
Right? Like, let's talk about real money you put in your bank account, right? Because I was very confused by that, bro. Everybody's telling me they're making $30K, and I'm like, no, you're selling $30K. You had 25-30% of chargebacks on that business, plus all your lead flow and everything. You're stuck with 4 or 5. Mm-hmm. And by the way, which isn't bad. Like, anybody would take 4 or 5 grand, but so I didn't know any of that.
Right.
I remember I went to a convention in Dallas when they did the 7 cities thing, and I was like looking at these numbers, and I was like, bro, I'm gonna be rich. And then I was like, a year and a half later, I'm not rich. So I'm rich in a lot of other things, but not that, right? So action. I just gotta take more action, bro.
Right. And so I'm glad you said that. And again, it comes back to some of the same things. Time management. You need more appointments, right? So time management, we'll get into that one. But more appointments is this right here.
Money.
Lead budget,
Right? You need to go all in on your business, right? Scare money and make money. And if you want to get there, this is the thing that's going to do it. It's pretty simple. It's just at the moment, you need throughput. And the only way that you're going to do it is this. So, in my opinion, this is the quickest thing that you can solve right here. The easiest thing you can do, because you know what's going to happen. This is going to increase your activity. If you're more busy, there's more things for you to do. The more things you're thinking about it, the more people you're talking to, it's going to keep you busy. Good things are going to happen. You're going to get better, right? You're going to solve more problems. You're going to have more conversations. It has a long tail. And then you gotta, some of this is self-belief too. If you spend this, are you gonna make it back? Well, the only way you're not gonna make it back is if you don't work, right? You gotta work. You know what I mean? How many times have you called a lead?
20-something times in a
Okay.
day. Oh.
Is he gonna make his money?
In a day?
Are you making your money back? So this is up to you if you work. But again, we'll get to that. We'll talk about follow-up and all those things because you'll have a lot of time to talk about that. But again, it's really simple here. This is just a simple thing. The throughput is what you're going to have. Yeah. And I'll go into some numbers on kind of what I do in a little bit. Below the team, it's funny, we're kind of going through a little bit of this too. We had, probably $160,000, $70,000 just extra below on our team that I had to just kind of cut. But the most important thing is you're the captain of the ship. You got to make sure that the ship doesn't go down. And a lot of times this is a distraction because this hits into the bottom line of time management, of babysitting. Well, all of that goes back into you having lack of focus because you could be taking that time and putting it somewhere in the presence of, right? Or if you have an assistant, but the thing still comes to you to make the decision where that person is still there where you have to manage them too, right? We've fallen into that. Where there's a person there to check the email, to answer it, but they still bring it to you and you still have to do it, right? A lot of those things. And so it seems ruthless, but you got to cut some of that stuff. I mean, you were probably doing it before anyways, right? It's your business, you need to work on it. So sometimes you just kind of got to trim it. Oh, well, I don't want to have to do this. Well, batch it. You don't need, 9 times out of 10, things coming through an email, it's not going to be life or death, right?
Yep.
It usually isn't. For example, you got your phone, you're worried about like having your phone on silent. Oh, my wife might call. Well, put it on for a few hours and see what happens. Usually it's a text, hey, did you take out the trash or something like that? It's not anything life-threatening. You know what I mean? So you can batch those tasks that the other person is doing, but this will eat up a lot of your time. If you got to babysit, if you got a lot of people on there, but also it's a distraction because you're worried about what they're doing and things like that. Sometimes you just got to cut it. Right.
See, sometimes though, like it's funny you say that because for me in the beginning, I go back and look. Like if I literally looked at every dollar I spent in the last year and a half, it's more money than I've ever thought I would make in a year, right? But like realistically. But it's also lack of awareness of where to put your money, right? A lot of that's been my problem. I've tried everything.
I can help you on that.
I did. Like I literally have bought every lead type, call me every lead vendor in the world. They got an account with me. Like they still call me. They're like, hey, you want more? I'm like, nah, leave me alone. I got thousands of leads in my CRM, right? I've spent money on people and everything. So I think that's a big part of knowing the business. Like, where do you put your money? Because like now, what I know now today. Well, I'm going to learn more about it, but like I don't need to keep buying more leads. I just need to put more money into my system.
Yeah, and the thing is, that's the only way you're going to learn, though. You're going to have to bump your head and scrape your knee, right, to learn how to ride that bike. Everybody's going to fall off. That's part of the process. So
I'll share with you on how.
Yeah, we can get right
break
into
that up.
Yeah,
dude. And when I put, and I'm saying this and I ain't saying this to brag, but I'm saying when I implemented this system in 9 months, it allowed me to put $100,000 in the bank and still run my business.
So that's.
And so, we're going to talk about all of that. But again, you got to learn. I mean, he had to learn. He didn't just happen. He had to go through some things. But with that knowledge, you already.
But what I'm saying on that is if I wouldn't have had that system, when that 100,000 hit me in roll up debt, if I wouldn't have implemented this system and been set up financially for when that hit, it would have put me out of business. So I had, you see what I'm saying? So we get out there and we spend that money. If we don't have a system, and I had money in the bank, and then I got hit with that 100. If that would have, me and my wife sat down talking, I said, man, thank goodness for this. But that $100,000 would have put me out. That would have put me out of business.
Yeah.
And a lot of people got some good abilities in this business, but something like that hit them. And it puts them out of business.
Look at COVID.
Yeah.
100K, like.
Yeah. And I put that down because I just made a video about this, but this is huge too. Cash flow management. What to do is huge, right? Because again, say you make 30,000, you think you made. No. Uncle Sam, you need to get his too.
Yeah.
You need to put something away. You got bills, and you got to run your business too.
Right.
So you really didn't make that much.
Bro, you know how it's professional athletes, right? I mean, we're going through the NIL thing right now with college kids. They have no clue where the money's coming from. So there was a great ESPN article about how many athletes go bankrupt.
Yep.
And that's the problem. And in this business, that's definitely not been something I've been taught. I learned it because I looked at my accounts carefully. And I'm like, oh crap, I should have a lot more money in my account than I do right now. But they just keep telling me to put it back in. And I'm like, wait, why am I listening to them? And it's my account. Hold up, I gotta slow down a minute, right? Yes. But that's the course right there. Mm-hmm. That's $1 million game changer. So yeah, I'm excited about that too.
But here's the thing though. Notice how he's like, I can help you with that. Because he got money in the bank. Most people aren't talking about this, and you know why. Let's just think about it. They ain't got no money in the bank, they broke. Yeah. So that's the thing. So again, I'll say this because I'm not in the business with y'all. You have to know that there's echo chambers, right? And so you really want to make sure you stand guard at the door of your mind on who you're listening to and consider the source on things. And sometimes you just got to ask why, right? But in this process, because I don't really want to go down that rabbit hole, but it's sometimes you got to go outside of your organization or outside your team. That's where the most pure information is going to be, because they don't have any skin in the game of any biases with you to try to influence you to go in a certain direction. Like Kevin Alexander is just going to give you the real information and tell you what's best. I'm going to tell you what's best because I want to see you succeed. There's no structure in here where I get an override from you. And sometimes the information can get distorted.
Yeah.
But then the other thing you have to understand, some people are just, it's monkey see, monkey do. People are just passing down the same information. You know what your upline said to you need to buy more leads. You know what his upline probably said to him is you just need to buy more leads. Well, that's a hammer to just fix one job. Sometimes you do need a screwdriver, right? If you're having personal issues and you know, mostly in your family, buy more leads isn't going to fix that, right? It isn't going to fix that, right? If you get wrecked from a tribal trip that they told you to go on because you've seen the videos of people making all this money and you come back and you're down, buying more leads isn't going to solve that, right? And so sometimes you got to go outside of, and we talked about this, right? Sometimes you got to go outside of your bubble in order to get the right answer because you're going to get more pure thoughts. And then you got to think for yourself sometimes too, right? Those are a couple things. And I'll put this up here because this is one of the things that I had to learn my way too. And what happens when you start doing this is you realize that you ain't making that much money and it makes you even more hungry. Because a lot of times people aren't looking over here and then they feel good, like they made a little bit of money, right? So they're not working hard. But when you do the cash flow management right, you're not, you know, the numbers just don't look good to you. So that makes you more hungry because you want to store. And then once you start to see it grow, you get a dopamine rush from that and then you want to kind of build it up. So I'll get to that.
That's the most important part of
for
growth.
Sure. Yeah,
any type of growth.
Yeah, for sure. Because this is why businesses cease right here. It's not because, and people are like, oh man, all these businesses fail. Well, the reason why they fail is because they run out of cash. And so, again, we'll get to that, but that's what we want to make sure that you don't. And that's building the foundation. But again, it still comes back to this, right?
Yeah.
Because you can't save any money if you ain't making anything, right? So we need to make a goal, then we need to determine what that action is. And then that brings us back to recruiting. So I think that for you guys, you really need to start thinking about this. Your why. Why you're doing this, what you're doing. Because if you start telling your story, that's going to attract the best people to you. Your experience, because somebody will see where you are and resonate with your story, right? And then they either want to come support you or be a part of what you're doing, or they just want to be around you. And those are the people that you're going to enjoy working with. People that you're going to want to be in a room that you're going to be excited because they're going to be just as excited to see you. And I think a lot of life insurance agents don't do that part. They don't tell their whole journey because it's kind of vulnerable. They just want to talk about how much premium you're writing. But what happens is you get people in your organization that are doing it for the wrong reason, desperate, writing bad business, doing these things because they didn't hear about the chargeback. They didn't hear about the journey that you had to go through, the hard work, the expectations. So we don't set the right expectations when you start talking about get rich, this and that, too good to be true, right? You get all the wrong people, and you only learn this by, you know, going through whatever happened to you in the experience. But I'm here to tell you, if you share your story and your journey, you'll get the right people because that story is going to attract people and deter everybody else. And then you can say, hey man, this business ain't for everybody.
You're
Right? So if you ain't willing to work, man, we ain't got nothing to talk about. And you can make a good living, but you're going to have to work your behind off, right? And I'm going to be here to help you along the way. Anytime you fall, I got your back. But let me tell you, you know, you got to come with your bootstraps on, ready to work every single day. And if you're ready to do that, I will help guarantee your success, right? And when you come from that position and you tell people the thing they know what they're getting into, right? Oh, I already knew this was going to happen. But when you tell them you're going to make $20,000, $30,000 in a month and it doesn't happen, well, you don't know it, but they don't trust you. Like, man, you told me I was going to make this. So then guess what? They stop doing a little bit less and it's a little bit less and they stop showing up because they're getting further and further away from this goal of how easy this business is going to make. And they see you still talking and posting your stuff, then they start to resent you. And you don't know it, but they're on your team. And they're still showing up, but they ain't doing nothing. They didn't because they lost hope because the expectation wasn't set right of what you're going to run up against. But just like everything else, yeah, it's going to be hard, but you know that already going in, you accepted the challenge. Now we just got to keep you. It's like, hey, you committed to this. I'm going to help you, and then let's do it. And that's what you need to do is use expectation.
You know, it's crazy. It's funny. Derek's just like, hey, that's what he told me. He was obviously joking, but that's what goes wrong. And see, this is just me. Like, I've had this light bulb go off before. I listened to what everybody else said. Hey, when should you start recruiting? Right away. Like, yeah, I'm gonna go tell all my friends about this. Now I'm like, now people ask me, I'm like, dude, chill out. Like, see if this works, right? Like, and yeah, sure, there's some selfishness to us because you may be better than you are, and vice versa. But everything that I told people the first 6, 7, 8 months I was here was because the people above me were like, hey, say that, and then I was saying the same thing. And sometimes people failed. I mean, several people failed. And my image changed in their eyes because now they failed for many reasons. And I could arguably say, oh, they failed because they didn't work. But that's not what it's about. It's I want to set people up for some real success. So I'm down with what Kevin's doing. Like, I've been saying it for a month now, if not longer. I don't want 100 people. One, I can't work with that many people. Like, if it grows to something like that, amazing. I'd rather work with 2-3 people a month and give them my undivided attention where I can grow it. And if we get to $1 million, we get to $1 million, right? But I want those people to really truthfully be making money. I don't want fake money, and I don't want fake promises, and I'm tired of it, dude. And that's all you see everywhere on social media, like, from everybody. So my point to that is, you got to be careful. It's almost tying it all back, right? So it's like, hey, you got to get out of your group, and this is one of the major reasons I want to come. I want to get out of my group, right? Like, I love my guys. I'm friends with a lot of these cats, but like, if you just hear the same thing over and over, but you're not hearing the opposite side, are you really educating yourself?
Because that's what they're being fed.
Yeah.
That's what everybody.
There's a big thing with what it is that you just said. There is no innovation inside the group. The innovation has to come from getting outside of the group.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where innovation comes. You guys, all of us, have been in some sort of echo chamber before in the life insurance industry. I know the reason that Arturo succeeds with the team that he's built is because he's not in the echo chamber of everyone else that kind of does what we do. It's like, it's far above that and far beyond that. And you guys are in this unique situation right now, and one of the biggest things, and Arturo can tell you, I've been saying this for years now, stop trying to recruit right off the bat. I know this is what you're being told, but you have no social proof to recruit Jack. You haven't done anything yet. It's like, because I say, you may have seen, I've said so many times, if you try to recruit me, the first thing I want to ask is, how much money are you making? That is my first question. And if you have no proof of what you can do, why do you think you can recruit other than the fact that that's what your upline is telling you to do? And then you have to understand why they're telling you to do that. It's because they're concerned about their business model.
100%.
Not yours.
Yeah. You know what's funny about that? I think I told you this when we talked. About a year ago probably, is when I first saw a post of yours. And I received a text message or in a Slack group saying, hey, like, block these people. You're one of them. Like, your face is one of them.
Oh, I know.
Block these people because they're trying to recruit you.
No, they're trying to control you.
They're trying to recruit you. That's literally what it was.
Wow.
Like, no, I don't know if you ever got anything like that, but I got it directly.
Somebody sent me something like that. They called me, want to check it out.
Yes, and that's what we talked about. It's like,
dude,
man,
I was so young in the business. Like, literally, like, I feel like in the last year, like, literally probably the last 6, 7, 8 months, I've grown up so much just in this model because I'm like, dude, I used to be pretty independent. Why am I listening to all these people? Like, let me go do, and we talk about it all the time, but like, that's when I was like, wait, why do they not want me to talk to these people? Like, when the whole like Advantage One thing broke out, right? They're like, don't talk to us. I'm like, why would I not? Like, let me go see what's going on, right? Like, I'm independent, right? Like, it's my thing. So I received that, and it's funny that life comes full circle. And
it does. It's interesting though, right?
Because I was like, wait, hold
on.
on.
But the crazy thing is people do it. People will be like, block, 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 and without asking questions.
Well, because you think, and I'm not saying, like, I'm happy where I'm at. I'm glad I'm with the people I'm at. But, like, it's not, they don't know any better sometimes.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
The top is so high up there, and they tell you what, and, like, they just don't know any better. So he's asking real questions.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying again.
It's good.
Is asking why about things and, like, thinking critical. Because that's all this thing right here. It's like, we're just breaking this down and getting critical on it. It's like, okay, why is my business working? Why did I have a good month? What do I need to do to duplicate that? And that's kind of what we're going to get to with this time thing. But again, why somebody's giving you the wrong answer, it's like going back to the source. Well, it's because that's probably what they were told. And that's the only way they know how to solve it. The only way to recruit people is to tell them how much money they wrote, right? But that's going to attract the same kind of desperate person. you tell somebody about the expectations of the journey of why they want to do this, there's a commitment to this, you're going to get a different person. Let's just take this room, for example, right? Hundreds of thousands of agents, there's only a few people that do things the way you guys do it that are committed in this group. They're not just hanging on trees. So you want to make sure that you get somebody that has the same kind of work ethic, the same level, thinks the same way you do, thinks big enough, passion, right? They have all of these things that you want to run with, right? You working out with somebody or you running with someone, and every time they come to the gym, you got to pump them up, or they don't want to hold the weight or this and that. That messes up your jam. Same thing with your business. You want to protect your business in the same way. And I just think that if you share the story, that will attract the people to you, because it's not in the numbers, right? Let's just be honest. It work. It doesn't. It don't say that it does not work, but in a particular case, more than not, you find yourself babysitting more than that, and your production goes down. And at the end of the day, for you guys, you got to keep the ship afloat. So you got to do whatever it takes to keep the ship afloat. And if you got a bunch of lazy people on your team, distractions just need to come loose. It ain't working out. And guess what? You're going to sleep so good at night. You're going to feel good, man. That person wasn't doing anything anyway. Let them go. And guess what? You're going to be fired up to meet with your team the next day. But it also sets the tone too, right? Because people will just kind of hide. But let's go back to this. We need to assign a timeline. So whatever your goal is, you need to assign the timeline. And it's on you, because this is the thing that is the commitment. We figured out what the goal was, and we know what our actions are. Now we need to assign a time, because we need to get to work on Monday. We need to get to work to start going through those. And then once we put that timeline to it, 30, 60, no more than 90 days of whatever we need to do, then we're going to talk about, okay, what do we need to do every single day? So y'all see what I'm doing here, right? We're about to put a game plan together. If there's one thing that we're going to do before we leave here, we're going to have a clear game plan on what actions you need to take before we leave here to get you closer to your goal. All right. So I'm going to kind of break. It's going to be lunchtime. Jack's going to grab some stuff. We're going to take a break and kind of talk through some of this stuff. But anybody got any questions or feedback? How's this first session been?
I've been enjoying it a lot so far. So as a newer agent, what do you think I should write as my goal?
So
I put 50.
So the question is what are you writing right now?
Right now I do about 3.
Okay. So let's just go with, let's just do 20 for you, right? And the reason why I say that is because that's doable.
Okay.
Y'all all done 20? Mm-hmm. Is that doable, right? Anybody can do it. Say they wrote 8 in one day. So this number right here is something that everybody can do, right? Right? Everybody believe that?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's been done, right?
I think your question is, you got to tie that together, right? Because you can say 50,
Yeah.
but then you got to put the T in there.
Right.
How you gonna get there?
So is this by the end of the year, or is this 45 days?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm getting at. He's right. See, he knows how I think. The goal is, can you do 20, right? That's the first thing, is can it be done? That's not anything that's insignificant. And based off of what you're doing right now, you can increase your activity just a little bit and get to that. It's just, you just need to work in order to hit this. Everybody's done it. And then we can assign a timeline. Because, I mean, you can do this in the next 30 days. Hell, people have done this in a week, right? Look at him. He's smirking like shit. You can do that.
Well, so you take, let's just say that 20, right? So we're going to get to this, I already know. But what does it take to get to 20?
Exactly.
Everybody knows that, right? Mm-hmm. Appointments. Now, to handle more appointments, you need to be good with your time management. Okay? Mm-hmm. I'm literally preaching to myself, right? So how do you get more appointments? Well, let's say you do write 20, okay? Take 20% of that for chargebacks, right? All right, cool. Now you got 16. Take $6,000 for leads. Cool, whatever. And take $2,000 for whatever else. If you net at 8, you're not gonna be mad, are you? Okay. Now just do that math and multiply that by, now you're doing 30, 40, 50, and maybe your ad spend goes up, which who cares if you're making that money? And maybe you find ways where you can be more strategic and keep your costs lower. See, my cost is astronomical right now. I'm trying everything. I'm trying Ring Central and Phone Burner, and I'm like, I signed up.
And that's another thing that we're going to get into talking about is those things. But again, see, now it's got us thinking though, right?
You reverse it.
And so, but I want to talk after 20 for right now because we need to make it tangible for him. Yeah. What do you got?
I was just gonna say the greatest asset that we've introduced here over the past few months is that CRM, man. That CRM, you got phone burners, you got all that stuff, but we're doing like that CRM, and I got somebody hired in my office that his job is learning that CRM. That's his job. That's what I pay him.
It's a learning curve, but it's
What CRM?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get into it because I want to stay on
But what
task
that's
with the goal here.
done, yeah, what that's done is allowed me with the phone burners, with the phone apps, with the phone lines, everything. It's eliminated all of these different avenues, these different lanes that I'm going down, and it's got us focused. Boom, everything is right there. Clients right there, CRM's right there, phone lines are right there. Everything is right there, just on the tap, just transfer right there. Everything. It's eliminated me having to go, turn, do anything else, and it's increased our production.
Right, and again, it's focused on one thing. Well, one person's focused on it is eliminated distractions.
But we had to become purposeful in our mindset.
Right.
So what I was telling Earl a while ago is I think one of my strongest talents is knowing what I'm not good at.
Yeah.
So what I'll do is we brought somebody in. I brought a guy in that was good at that, and I paid him. That's his job. His job is learn CRM and then show me the shortcuts to learn.
Yeah.
Come in and try that. So my goal is to learn a new task on that CRM every day. His job is to learn something new on that CRM every day, and then he just comes in and clicks it and shows me how to do it.
Right.
Man, it's
Yeah, dude, that's good.
So let's talk about this stuff because this would be important here.
Anybody know how many presentations you need to do?
Right,
for
that's what
20?
we're about to get into
That's
right
what I
now.
was just gonna say.
Yeah.
You really do know how he thinks.
And again,
You're reverse engineering this bad boy.
exactly.
So you
Right.
gotta have so many appointments. You gotta know your no-show rate. You
So
gotta
let's
know
just start. So how many appointments? Well, let's start with the average. We just start with some numbers here. Average premium for FFL agent is it 900 or is it 1200? I can't
No,
remember.
Can you
no,
do it?
You gotta-
740.
I'm doing
You gotta do
final
like
expense,
800.
and I'm gonna do
Yeah,
like
800,
600.
exactly.
Yours is 600?
Yeah.
I'd say 600 AP for final expense. That's what.
Okay, so
Alright,
this
so
is-
I'm just gonna do it for
on
me.
mine,
so I
the
can
other
see.
day, I looked average it's not, but our average premium per deal is $25.14.62.
And that's what we're gonna talk about that all day tomorrow.
Exactly. So, but for you starting out, right? That's actually, if you look at a typical 60 to 70-year-old, right? Final expense 5, 6, 7, 8, 10K.
30 to 40 a month.
There you go.
Premiums,
Alright.
yeah.
So
stop offering.
So that's 33 sales
talk
that you
about
need to
that
make in a month. Okay? So basically they one sale a day. Okay? It's funny that when you break these numbers
Ain't
down,
that big?
it ain't that big at all, right? So let's go into. I always like to put a little margin of error on that. Like Warren Buffett says, you always want to put a 20% margin of error in anything. So I would always take 33 and multiply that times 2.
It's 40, right?
Is what? Yeah,
40,
so
40
33 times 22, so that's 6. Yeah, so we'll just say 40, because it's at 39.6. So let's say you need to make 40 sales, right? So let's do this per week. So you need to make, what is that, 10 sales a week?
That's it.
10 a week,
10 a week.
all right?
But if you're gonna have that many appointments a week,
Exactly. We're going to go with 50%. We're going to go with 50% sit. So you need to sit with 20.
Oh, you need 20, right?
you need 20 that actually talk to you.
So,
Right.
so,
You need to sit with 20 in order to write 10.
What's your no-show percentage?
so I need
That
to
is
say that.
50%.
50.
So I need.
Oh,
like
what's your
30.
closing percentage?
Well, we're going to get to that.
Okay.
Yeah. So you need to sit with at least 20. And let's say, 50%.
So it's 50-50, yeah.
Yeah. So if you sit with 50, so that means that you need 40
40 points.
points. Right? We on the same page there? Right? I don't need that.
I had a number and I forgot.
No, you're right. That's exactly what you need.
40
40
points.
appointments.
So
Alright.
40 appointments a week. How many appointments is that?
This is for a month.
Oh, 40
No,
appointments a month.
no, that's not. It can't be a month.
No, that's not right.
No, that's 40 appointments a week.
Yes,
Where you
okay.
sit with 20 and
Yes.
you close 10.
So,
Yes, right.
so how
40
many
a week.
appointments? How many appointments a day?
Hold on. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get it all broken down. So that's what is that? 160? Is that what that is?
Yep.
160 appointments a month. 160. Okay. Again, sitting down. Here's the thing. Me doing this or you doing it is also doing it for you when you're doing it, people. It's just like, oh crap. I mean, this is very, very simple. All right. So you need to do 160. Right. That's what you need to do.
Week.
A month.
A month. This is
160
per
appointments a
month, and then this is per week. Sorry, my handwriting is terrible.
No, you're good.
No, it's good.
All right. Is that doable, Will?
Yeah, that's the number. And I promise you, your average AP will only continue to get better.
Yeah.
600 is low,
Right.
right? Give or take, 1,000 is pretty decent. I mean, that's $83 a month, right? And you're gonna get some older folks that, I mean, $5,000 is gonna be $120 a
Let me
month.
see that again.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to get better at.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's where like sales tactics actually come in. But like at the end of the day, like you really break that down. 40 appointments. Let's say you only work 5 days a week, right? Like that's only 8 appointments a day.
Here's my math. It's 7 presentations a day.
Right. And then I put 20% on there.
Because you
with
got
the
your
eight.
closing ratio could be 30, could be 35, it could be 40%. If you're really good, it's 60.
Yeah.
Right? But 7 presentations a day with a 30%, 35% closing ratio will get you to 20.
Yeah. Again, this is once you break this down, it's really, really simple. You need to do 8. So the first thing you need to do is this is the first number. Like you need to focus on this number right here in the short term, making sure that you got this on the calendar. Right.
Okay.
That's the only thing you need to focus on.
Okay.
Getting that on the calendar. Right.
Can I share this, Arturo?
Yes.
I got this broke down, and this is through the end of April. I said 25.16 a while ago. I lied. My average premium was 24.16.53. Okay, in that week it produced me. I wrote $41,081.07 in business, and that was 17 apps.
Mm-hmm.
That's my breakdown. That's how precise we've got our breakdowns on the CRM and everything. I mean, it's just boom, boom, boom.
Is that through
That's through stats right there. So that's the average. That's the last updated one. So I go through, and what I'll do is I'll now take that. Okay, and if I want to write $40,000 in business a week, I know what my average is. I break that down each week.
Mm-hmm.
That sets my goal. That tells me how many appointments I got to hit a day. So to get those 17 apps in per week, okay, I got to figure to get those 17 apps in per week. Number one thing I got to do is I got to track my appointments. I usually run 20 appointments a day. I have 20 to 23 appointments a day set. Okay, set. On that, I know right off the bat, I figure 50% of those done.
Yeah.
That ain't going because it's gonna be on the phone. It's gonna be a higher no-show rate than face-to-face. So I figure when I walk into my office, I walk in with the mindset I got 20 appointments a day. I'm talking to 10 people a day.
Yeah.
Okay. But here's the kicker. Here's the difference between $40,000, $50,000 a week producers and not. Here's the kicker. What do you do during that no-show time? What do you do right here when in the middle? Are you waiting on that next appointment, or are you working like a dog to hustle some business up? That's where your money's made. Your money is made not off them appointments, but your money is made with the callback. Your money is made with the no-show. Your money is made with the follow-up. That's where your money. So when I ring an appointment, I go,
That's great.
That is. When I ring an appointment,
ratio.
I let it ring, boom, it goes to voicemail. I hang up, I call, let it ring 3 more times. I hang up, I call back from a different number, let it ring 3 more times. I move back to a no-show. I go down to the bottom of my no-show list, and for the next 20 minutes, I'm working through that no-show list, either going to get me an appointment that I can sell right then, or David's going to live transfer over to me, or I'm scheduling another appointment to replace that one that just no-showed me for the next day.
Right.
So my time
That's called
spent waiting on my
systems.
next
That's
20,
having
30
systems.
minutes is not just sitting there twiddling my thumbs and checking my text messages and doing all that stuff. That time is spent working. And if you will take that, so I figure 50% of that by the time. Now, what's that do? That makes it easier on my people that are setting appointments too. Why? Because now I'm in there working with them, helping them set appointments, because I'm taking that 20 minutes and I want 10 minutes before my next appointment starts. I got to go pee, go get a drink, go whatever it is. I take 10 minutes, but then we work that. So I know 10 a day. So my goal is off of those 10 a day, or off of those appointments, that if I talk to 10 a day, I know that I'm going to close out of those 10 roughly about 4 or 5 a day, okay? So by the time you work all of that in, you get down to the end of the week, issued, and the difference between submitted and issued is you're going to be right on target. The numbers will not lie, and it will work out every single time that you're going to be between 18 and 23% on your amount of money that you spend on leads. Every single time.
And here's the funny thing about that. With these numbers, I'm looking at the numbers that I have here. With the 100K, the numbers are exactly the same. It's 120 appointments. The only thing that's different is this right here.
100%.
Right? And then funny, and it's funny because I heard him say something, but again, this is the formula right here. You just need to plug in, and the growth is right here. Right? But what you lack in skill, you make up with effort, man. And so in the meantime, like, this is your journey. Own this. Don't try to do 25, 50. Go through this process and get better and learn from it and build off of that, because you know what? You'll be able to invest in your team when you see them struggling, because you can tell your story to them. And this has a long tail. We got to look at this like a business, man, where it's like, it's kind of like with your children, right? This journey happens over and over. When you have kids, right? You go back to these stages that you kind of forget. You got a 2-year-old and a what?
I got a 4 to 5 year old.
4-year-old. But you remember like your son coming up to you and crawling, he's just trying to learn how to do it, and you're like, man, I don't even have to think about walking. And you pick him up, or it like fall down and these things. It's a full circle. You're in the future when you have downlines, they'll be doing the same thing. You're like, dude, come here, man. Let me talk to you for a second. I remember this. Let me tell you the story about where I've been, and that gives them hope. So go through this struggle so you can have this story to tell, man. It has a long tail, but this is doable.
Yeah.
And so like focusing on doing these amount of appointments every single day. So every single day you get up, you need to be trying to fight like hell to make sure that you talk to these amount of people. And then this is gonna hit. You're gonna blow through this, right? You're gonna end up talking to somebody along the way. That's a lot of freaking appointments to do. You're gonna get lucky in here and blow through
You
this.
get a $300-400 a month premium.
Yeah.
Just with the appointments.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what Kevin just said is the clutch right there. That's what I'm not.
Systems.
That's
The systems.
Following
The
up, no,
That's-
following up in between the no-show.
That's it, dude. So my distractions are so high every day. Or, full transparency, my lack of belief in myself at times, when people are like, oh, I'll get my bank account later, or yeah, no, I don't want this, or, and I'm like, what the
Yeah,
hell?
you're not looking at the
I can't
pain.
believe that lady
You're
just
not,
said it to me. And I
yeah.
walk out for like 20-25 minutes and come back, clear my head, or whatever.
Yeah, you're avoiding,
You don't do
like, you're not sitting in the pain of the things in the business, because if you do that, then those are the things that you need to focus
I'm
on.
busy working.
Yeah, but,
Yeah,
here's, but
strategically.
here's the other thing. How many? We all know it's the statistics, right? 30% of the people that we speak with are ready to buy. What are you guys doing with the other 70? Right? Because you're speaking to 100%, whether it's 7 people or 10. It's percentages. I don't care what number it is. What are you doing with the other 70? Because I spoke to you. I can talk to you, text you a week, 2 weeks, a month from now, 3 months from now, and then sell you. 70%, 50% of that 70 will buy in 3 months. Within 3 months. And that's almost any.
And that's what we talk about. This is follow up right there.
Tons.
That's the
70%
follow-up.
right here,
Relentless
Arturo.
follow
It's
up.
ridiculous.
This is our follow-up.
Same thing
sheet
with
right
Ryan.
here.
That's
Yeah, we got to learn the CRM. Man.
Yeah. So
follow up
That's-
systems.
I-
What you need is systems.
That's
So-
what I have now, and everything's automated. So, in fact, I was just that automation right there is a game changer.
yeah. See, I'm excited about a couple of these things because one, falling back in love with the game, getting the vision and time management. Like sometimes I can't really kind of discuss a lot of these things because I nerd out about them. But these are the things that I can hear and see that I had. Where it's like wherever that fire is, you need to put it out.
Yeah.
Right? Because then, like a lot of these things, which we'll talk about, are like this.
I love it. You know what Sean Mike would tell you? Get over yourself.
And so
That's what he would say. It's funny as shit.
this is supposed to be a fire, but you got this distraction right here, you got this distraction right here, you got this one, and if you turn this bad boy into log and throw it on there, guess what? This is your business, right? You can take all those logs and throw them on here. And we're gonna define all of these distractions, and guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna start turning those into logs and throwing them on this fire so that you guys can kind of excel your business. But let's get back to you. 30-day goal, this is something that's possible, right? So we got a sheet that we'll get to, kind of put it out to like 45 because it'll be like in mid of the month. But this is a strategy that you should write down and have for yourself because this is very attainable. And again, the room for growth for you is as you do a lot of appointments, you're gonna get better. You're gonna write more premium, right? So this is gonna go up, and every time this goes up, this number's gonna go up. And so your margin of error for showing up is gonna be there, but you'll be used to working. Because this is working right here. Would y'all agree with this?
Yeah.
This is work. So if you're doing this, you can make a boatload of money. Am I right?
I am more than sure that you got a ton of value from this video. And as I said at the beginning of the video, I want you to put your comments below and be very candid on what you got out of this training. And there's more to come. There is more to come. This is just the tip of the iceberg. We're going to dive deeper in the next couple of videos that come up. And if you're lucky, somewhere around this video, there's a link or a button that you can go ahead and click so that you could not only talk to us about what we can do, but so that you can also be in communication, and talk to the people that you just heard as well. Go ahead, look for the link, click the button, take the next step.